2022 meeting of the Architectural Review Committee meeting to order. To start off with, Jennifer, will you conduct a roll call for us, please?
Yes. First, we have Chair Hunter,
Here.
Vice Chair Tregenza,
Here.
Committee Member Bluth,
Here.
Committee Member Ostavar. Oh, I don't think they are here. Committee Member Carter. Here. Committee Member Polly.
Here.
And Committee Member Schmidt.
Here.
Great. So all committee members are present except for Committee Member Ostavar. And for city staff present, we have Community Development Director Kim Cole, Principal Planner Fernando Roferi, Senior Associate Planner Chris Schmidt, and myself, Recording Secretary Jennifer Cleary.
Also, Jennifer, will you announce to the public how they could participate in today's meeting via the web, please?
Absolutely. Members of the public are encouraged to join our meetings via Zoom Gov, a secure service that connects you live with no lag time. This meeting is also streamed live on youtube.com/City of Monterey with a 10-second delay and Comcast channel 25 with up to a 90-second delay. If you would like to provide public comment, please join the meetings using Zoom or by telephone, making sure to join in time to accommodate delays. To join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. Since the meeting has begun, you'll find the agenda under the Recent tab. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864 toll-free. Once again, that toll-free phone number to call is 833-568-8864. Then enter the webinar ID, which is 161-914-9563. Once again, this webinar ID is 161-914-9563. There are more phone numbers on the agenda if that first one does not work for you. If prompted for a participant ID, press pound. Detailed instructions for using Zoom are available at monterey.org/public meetings. To provide public comment via Zoom, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of your screen. To provide comments by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters will be announced using their last 3 phone number digits or the name typed into Zoom. Public commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak. Please turn off TV or computer speakers or go to another room while connected, as background noise interferes with the broadcast. Public speakers will be called upon in order of hands raised. There is a 3-minute time limit for today's meeting. Please stay within that limit.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda, and on that is the minutes from the September 21st meeting. So for comments on consent agenda. If none, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda and approval of minutes from the previous meeting.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, the motion has been put forward to approve the consent agenda by Vice Chair Tregenza and seconded by Committee Member Schmidt. Jennifer, will you conduct a roll call vote for us, please?
Yes. Chair Hunter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Tregenza,
Aye.
Committee Member Carter. Okay. Committee Member Bluth,
Aye.
Committee Member Polly,
Aye.
Committee Member Schmidt,
Aye.
Committee Member Ostavar is still absent. Those minutes are approved with a total vote of 5.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Next, I'll open up for public comments on anything that is not on today's public appearance item agenda. Is there anyone online, Jennifer?
I see one person online on the Zoom call. So just a reminder to provide public comment once you are in Zoom, please raise your hand using the button at the bottom of your screen. And I don't see a hand going up, so I don't think they wish to comment on this item. I mean, yes, on this item.
All right, we'll go ahead and close the public comments section and move on to the public appearance items. The first one is to consider 632 West Franklin Street Architectural Review Permit ARP 22-0016 and tree removal permit ART 22-0179 for preliminary and final architectural review of a reconstructed rear addition, new and replaced windows, a new rear deck, and removal of one 13-inch pittiform tree.
Ed, I'm gonna need to recuse myself. My primary residence is 1,000 feet from that project.
All right, thank you. We'll call you back in when we've concluded with this item. All right, staff have a presentation?
Yes, thank you, Chair. My name is Chris Schmidt. I'm a senior associate planner for the city of Monterey. I've been working with the applicant on this project. This is a project that the ARC did review and provide some guidance. And so I'll quickly go through the presentation and focus on the areas in which the ARC provided that guidance. So we're looking at basically a remodel of this home as a reminder. The staff recommendation is to approve the project with conditions.
Sorry, Chris, are you sharing? I didn't see that.
I am sharing.
Okay.
Can everybody on Zoom see?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
So just as a reminder, this project includes reconstruction of a rear second level addition with an increase in height and a new roof line and a change in exterior siding, new second level deck at the rear and above the existing garage, which will be converted to an ADU, new and replaced windows. And what the ARC requested in the previous hearing is that the architect consider some design alternatives to the dormers, which were proposed to be reconstructed in their existing form. And so the architect is presenting a new design, which I'll show on following slides. Additional comments from the ARC. Also, so in the previous design, there was a tree at the rear that was proposed to be preserved. And there were comments that the ARC seemed to support its removal. And as a reminder, that tree was at the location of the existing deck. The deck would be built around the tree. So now that tree is being proposed for removal and the deck would be built above that space. So here we see the site. It is a substandard lot at 3,825 square feet, and it contains an existing 2-story residence with a basement level below. And I've added, so looking at the site plan here, most of the work is at the rear, so that's why I've highlighted and zoomed in here at the rear. You can see that new deck, and then I've highlighted that tree which was previously proposed for preservation, now being requested for removal. And just I'll quickly go through the floor plans. I think the ARC, almost all of the ARC members here saw this project before, so I'll get onto the dormers. So in this case, the applicant was limited on the design alternatives because these existing dormers were actually non-conforming with respect to their height. They could really only rebuild them within the existing footprint and really not build them at any taller height. And so you can see the applicant has made a change in design, and it's easier to understand what that design is in these side elevations here. So the profile has generally been lowered. The slope of the roof has flattened a little bit, and they have these slopes at the exterior of the eaves here. And here's the other side and the rear. And then again, here's that tree that's proposed for removal. In the case of this project, staff didn't recommend a replacement tree. There's really not a lot of room on this site for new trees. There's quite a bit of vegetation in the front and rear yard. So that is not staff's recommendation today. So going on to the findings, The ARC is, I believe, familiar with these findings, and staff was able to make all four. And then there's a fifth finding that has to do with trees, but generally, staff made the first finding that the proposed siding form, mass, and architectural style are appropriate. It does meet the development standards. The new addition better matches the existing style. The previous rear addition was kind of a shed roof addition that was tacked on. So the new addition does meet the current style. The next finding has to do with privacy, views, privacy, and living environment impairments. Staff did not find that this project would unreasonably impair views, privacy, and the living environment. The hot tub is screened by fencing or neighboring accessory structures. Views of neighboring properties are similar to the existing home, and the neighboring windows are generally small, and these folks should not really be able to look inside the home. The next finding is that the project is consistent with city plans and design guidelines. Staff was able to make this finding. The design is single family in character and does have old town character. And then lastly, the exterior finish, colors, and materials, and all of their features are appropriate. They do match or are compatible with the existing style. And then the tree removal finding essentially has to do with tree removals can be approved as long as they are necessary for reasonable development. And staff was able to make this finding because that deck at the rear does serve the main floor of the home. And this tree is not a native species and really isn't in a beautiful condition. Staff supported this finding. So again, staff recommends approval. I'm available for questions, and the project architect is here as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Open up to committee member comments or questions for Chris. No questions. I'll invite the applicant if they care to make a presentation. State your name and
Oh, I'm Terry Latassa, the project architect, and I've read the staff report. And I came before you about a month ago, September 7th, and the ARC asked me to go back and redo those dormers and reconsider that tree removal, which I did. It's funny, the dormer redesign, something we had come up with a year and a half ago, but we had decided to just stick with the existing shed roof form. But after further consideration, we realized that really we should have gone with that redesigned roof, because we can keep it underneath the existing roof height. We're just able to squeeze in 7-foot ceiling heights in those rooms. So it's I think it is an improvement. So, I have to say I went along with the ARC's recommendation, and I think it is an improved situation with those dormers.
Does any member of the committee have questions for the applicant? No. Okay. All right. No questions for the applicant. Jennifer, will you state again how members of the public, if they care to comment on this issue, how they can do so?
Of course. To join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864 toll free. Once again, that phone number is 833-568-8864. This meeting's webinar ID is 161-914-9563. Once again, the webinar ID for this meeting is 161-914-9563. To provide public comment via Zoom, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of the screen. To provide comments by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters will be announced using their last 3 phone number digits or the name typed into Zoom. And we do have an attendee, but their hand is not up. And does anyone in the audience want to provide public comment? I think we are safe to move on.
Okay, good. We'll close the public comments on that and I'll let the discussion of the committee members.
I guess I'll just chime in really quick. Terry, thanks a lot for relooking at the dormers. I guess my biggest concern at this point is that I know you'd mentioned at the last meeting that you'd studied them earlier and didn't like them. So it was nice to hear that you do like them. I think they look a lot better. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And I think it's a great project.
I'll agree with Justin on that. Yeah, thanks again. I think we're able to right a wrong that was foisted upon the city many decades ago, and I think this is a big improvement. So thanks for taking the extra time to do that. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, very good. I'll just concur with those. I think this is a much more pleasing design. So thank you for taking the time to do that. Okay. Any other comments from the committee? Okay. I'll entertain a motion if
I'll make a motion to approve 632 West Franklin Street Architecture Review Permit ARP-22-0016 and Tree Removal Permit ART-22-0179 for preliminary and final architecture review. Do I need to keep going?
that's
Is
with
that
the,
good?
I'll second.
okay. The motion has been put forth by committee member Carter to approve architectural review permit ARP-22-0016 and seconded by committee member Pauling. Yeah. Jennifer, you can take a roll call vote for us, please.
Chair Hunter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Tregenza.
Aye.
Committee member Schmidt.
Aye.
Committee member Ostavar is absent. Committee member Polly.
Aye.
Committee member Bluth. Recuse. Thank you for reminding me. And committee member Carter.
Aye.
And thank you. This motion carries with a vote of 5. And it is appealable to the Planning Commission through the Planning Office within the next 10 days.
Okay.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your
Have a great
project.
afternoon.
Okay. All right, next is Bob, committee member Booth, just outside. If you want to invite him back in, please.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Hey, next on the a public appearance agenda item is the consider 2300 Garden Road architectural review application ARP-20-0271 for final architectural review of the conversion of 3 existing commercial buildings into 64 apartments. Staff have a presentation?
We do. Thank
Okay.
you, Chair Hunter and committee members. As the chair introduced, the Architectural Review Committee is considering final architectural review this afternoon. You already have approved a few months ago the building mass and size and scale. And today we're really looking at the finished materials, the landscape plan, lights, colors, and those final details of the project. Just in terms of background, Garden Road is a fairly new area to allow multifamily housing. The city council created the zoning district in 2019 as a way to incentivize and to increase housing supply in our community. The overall district, which is predominantly on the one side of Garden Road, between Garden Road and Highway 68, allows up to 405 multifamily units in total today along that area. Previously been approved, but there's 3 existing commercial buildings. They're going to be converted into 64 residential units, 13 studios, 49 one-bedroom units, and 2 two-bedroom units. The main changes to the buildings, that at least visually I see, are the exterior decks, the new waste enclosures. There's also bike and general storage that'll be within the main building framework. Just a reminder that 20% of these units will be permanently deed restricted as low/moderate income housing units. So a total of 13 new units will be added to our housing stock. I think right now we have about 500 deed restricted units in the city of Monterey. So this is a fairly large increase in our affordable housing stock. So this is the project site. As I mentioned, there are 3 existing buildings facing Garden Road. What we see here is Garden Road. The site is basically surrounded by parking, which will be retained, and there are 3 existing buildings. The architect has labeled these buildings. The back building, here's Garden Road in the front. Building A, buildings B, building C. Here's that existing parking lot that surrounds the buildings. And then in the back, there's a very large open space area between the project site and Highway 68. So this is the building as it looks today. And it has shingle siding. It's brown in color. And from my perspective, the overall look of the building will basically complement what's there today. And I'll just sort of walk you through that. For preliminary review, we did have them stake the proposed decks that will be placed on the building, because one of the requirements is that each residential unit have private open space. So when we look at that conversion from commercial to residential use, this is sort of the one visible change that I think will be, more readily visible on the site. So building A is that building in the back. This is actually facing that interior courtyard. So there's an entrance to the building. There's sort of 3 separate roof forms. And I think what this drawing does a good example or shows is that the building siding will remain as shingle. All the windows are being replaced on the structure with bronze anodized windows. And then we see the new decks that will wrap around the structure to provide that open space area. As we wrap around the building on the west and east elevations, you can see the overall form and size and scale of the building isn't changing, but the details within that framework will have the new windows, will have the decks as it wraps around. And then on the south elevation, which is the elevation that is at the back of the lot, you can see those decks at the back as well. Building B is, I should have mentioned, the lot sort of slopes down towards the back. So the bigger building, the bigger visual building is in the very back of the lot. And then as you go up towards Garden Road, eventually it looks more like a 1-story structure as you come up. And so this is an existing photograph. I think the other thing to at least site characteristics is the walls. These retaining walls surround the parking areas. And we'll see that design element picked up in the trash enclosures that will have to be constructed for this project as well. So here again, you see the basic form hasn't changed, but you see the decks and the new windows. Here's on the sides of the building. And the east elevation. And I mentioned as you get closer to Garden Road, it looks like a 1-story building. As you're going back further on the lot, you see those multiple stories. And you can see the same design vocabulary on these elevations as well. I did just want to focus in on the section drawing of the deck. What you see here is the new horizontal, you see the apartment unit here. This is actually I think a first story example. The second story I just cut off, but they're the same. You see the support, and then you have a glass railing system, which will provide nice views of the shingle siding as well as the new windows on the structure. I think it'll be fairly transparent as you're looking at the building. Open space. So our regulations ask for them to submit a landscape plan. When this last came to the Architecture Review Committee, and actually has several comments on projects, that you wanted to see spaces that were conducive to the change of use. And I just want to walk through some of the major elements. So we have Garden Road at the front of the property. There will be, for the first time, a sidewalk or a walking path that will go from the main structures towards Garden Road, and there's a sidewalk that's along Garden Road. So you'll have pedestrian connectivity to Garden Road. They're creating some really nice tot lots in both of these areas, and I'll show you those in a second, as well as an outdoor seating area behind Building A. In addition to that, they're creating a meandering path sort of in that big open space area between the project site and Highway 68. And there's a lot of, I don't know if you've been back there, but there's a lot of really large pines and opportunities to probably meander through there, maybe with your dog or whatever you're doing. So this is one of the proposed tot lots. What you see here is they're proposing tot lot equipment. Here's some swings. They have a picnic table, and they have a couple more tables over here. So the moms and dads can sit out here and watch the children play in the tot lot. There's it looks like I cut this off a little bit strangely, but this is up on the one building site. On the other side of the building, there's a second tot lot with more outdoor seating and, various trees and open space area. And these are benches that people can sit on in that area. And this is just an example of the proposed trellis where we saw the two outdoor tables. So there will be covered exterior seating for residents to sit at. At the back of Building A, so this is at the very back of the property, sort of facing that forested area. They're creating an outdoor patio with tables and chairs so people can sit there and enjoy it. I didn't include in your presentation or report because I really felt like it was outside the purview of the Architecture Review Committee, but you'll notice on the plans and the floor plan, they also created a common indoor area for residents to be able to congregate and have a interior experience as well. So the back of the lot is proposed just to remain, all the pine trees are proposed to remain. So what they're doing is proposing new landscaping within the, between the buildings. And here are the plants that they're proposing, the gallon sizes and the number of plants. In addition, they provided a lighting plan. I think they're proposing a combination of bollard wall sconces throughout the property. A couple things to note is all of the light sources are covered and focused down. They're all, they're not above 3000 Kelvin. So we try to keep them all lighting below 3000 Kelvin because above that, the lighting tends to get really white. So they have a bronze finish predominantly, and we think will blend really nicely with the brown shingle buildings within the complex. There's some fencing proposed between those tot lots and the parking area because they're on the periphery of the site. So this gives you an example. It's going to be a wood fence that will separate the tot lots from the side parking lots. There are a couple trash enclosures proposed because We'll be having a lot more people living here with, generating a different type of trash than commercial trash. And I think just a couple things to keep in mind. It says a split face CMU, which is the wall, the cement block wall to match the adjacent retaining walls. So these facilities, at least on the side, will have the same finish as those walls that surround the property. They will be covered. That's required by city code, and they will be drained to the city sewer system. That's why they're required to be covered. So there's not too much water that goes into our sewer system. All of that is required based on the city's stormwater regulations imposed by the state of California. So there's one finding for final architectural review, that the proposed finish, colors, materials, landscaping, lighting, fencing, and all other exterior features are appropriate for the project site, the immediate area, and the city. In staff opinion, we think they're fairly high quality materials that are proposed. The shingle siding, we think fits really well with that forested landscape, and it has for a long time. The bronze anodized windows will sort of match and be compatible with that brown color scheme, along with the wood glass decks. We feel the brown color continues to blend with the forested environment. I don't think we really want to see an off-white or lighter color in that particular area. The open space and landscaping areas create active and passive recreational opportunities for the residents. The plants are relatively drought tolerant. The building and the grounds, the lighting plans show that it's fairly well lit with pedestrian level lighting. We're not going to see any big lights creating light pollution in that area. And the trash enclosures, at least on the sides and the back, mimic the site's retaining walls. So you will see those gates, but we think they'll blend in fairly well with the surrounding retaining walls. So with that, we're recommending you adopt a resolution approving final architectural review with conditions of approval. The project architect, Paul Davis, is here and can answer any detailed questions you may have that I may have overlooked.
All right, very good. Thank you, Kim. Open the floor for questions for Kim from the committee members.
I've got a question. Thank you, Ms. Cole. The 12 by 12 wood posts, the vertical posts that support the deck, the new decks. In the drawings, they're light in color. And is that just to show the contrast so we can see them? Are they going to be painted a dark brown?
Yes, the posts of the decks will be painted to match the building.
Okay, and the same with the horizontal beams that support the decks?
Correct.
Thank you.
Kim, I have a question about the parking lot. I'm assuming that there's existing parking lot lights out there. Are those just going to be the same?
No changes are proposed to the existing parking lot lighting.
So the only new lighting is going to be the pedestrian level and then maybe along the buildings somewhat.
Correct. It's sort of within that complex.
Thank you.
Okay, if no other questions, invite the applicant to make a statement if they care to, and state your name, please.
That's on. Okay, great. Paul Davis, architect, chairman, committee members, either here or abroad, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to kind of wrap this project up. They are already have a demolition permit and they're clearing out the interiors to be able to get this project rolling. Oh,
There should be a green light.
maybe it's this. Thank you. And it is quite a serene environment when you get back there. And what we wanted to do is just maintain that environment and have the buildings actually recede in appearance. That's why we chose the glass railings that to be able to still allow the massing of the buildings to be there and not project it out in front. Also with the deep overhangs and deep overhangs of the roof, we didn't want solid railings to be able to limit the type of light that would be able to get back into the units themselves. So it is transparent. So we're trying to minimize any new structure around the buildings. And then lastly, that it'll allow the property management to be able to manage what's on those decks. And they'll have specific rules and regs in the rental policies to govern that. We spent a lot of time on the two open spaces areas. And I think, and the landscape plan is a little more robust than you saw a few months ago. With that, if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Open up, the committee members have any questions for the applicant?
I do. Thanks, Mr. Davis. Is the glass railing tinted in any way, or is it clear glass?
It's clear.
Thank you.
What's your projected start date for this project?
Once we get a building permit, we have only a few plan check corrections to resolve now, along with the final 4 stormwater plan, which we got those documents last week. So after this meeting, we will be submitting back to the building department. So we would hope within at least a month or 2.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. Next, we'll open up for public comments on this project. Jennifer, will you state how the members of the public can participate if they'd like to?
To join the Zoom meeting from a computer or phone, use the link or phone numbers provided on the agenda posted at isearchmonterey.org. To join by telephone, dial 833-568-8864 toll free. Once again, that phone number is 833-568-8864 toll free. Then enter the webinar ID 161-914-9563. Once again, the webinar ID for this meeting is 161-914-9563. To provide public comment via Zoom, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of your screen. To provide comments by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters will be announced using their last 3 phone number digits or name typed into Zoom. And I do see a hand raised. Gabriel Sanders, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Sanders.
Thank you. My name is Gabriel Sanders. I'm the Deputy Director of Monterey County Land Watch, and I'm just here to express our very strong support for this project as it is currently proposed. The 64 units, including all the affordable, are desperately needed by Monterey County. This is a great example of infill affordable development that has been long desired by the community. And I just would encourage everybody here to allow the project to move forward as planned with all the units in it. So thank you for your time, and feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your input, comments. If there are no other public comments, change gears and move on for discussion by the committee members. No. No discussion. I'll entertain a motion on the project.
I'll move to approve 23 Garden Road Architectural Review Application ARP 20-0271 for final architectural review.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion has been put forward by Vice Chair Tregenza to approve architecture review application ARP -20-0271 for final architectural review, and seconded by Committee Member Bluth. Jennifer, you conduct a roll call vote for us, please.
Yes, Chair Hunter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Tregenza.
Aye.
Committee Member Carter.
Aye.
Committee Member Polly.
Aye.
Committee Member Schmidt.
Aye.
Committee Member Ostavar is absent. Committee Member Bluth.
Aye.
And thank you. This motion carries with the vote of 6. It is appealable to the Planning Commission through the Planning Office within the next 10 days.
Okay, very good. Congratulations. And good luck on your project. All right, thank you. And so that concludes the public agenda items. Does staff have any informational reports or comments to make at this time?
Yes, thank you, Chair. The city just wants to let the ARC know that we are moving forward on development of affordable housing at 587 and 593 Van Buren Street and 424 and 450 Madison Street. Those 4 addresses are the houses behind, right across the street from Dutra Street right here. On the other side of the City Hall parking lot, which is right now part of the community garden. And so those are proposed to be developed with affordable housing. And the city has entered into an agreement with Mid-Penn Housing to provide the development and construction services. And so that's really exciting because all of the housing that is built there will be 100% affordable. And the Mid-Penn is working with staff to put forth a really good proposal that is compatible with the neighborhood. The number of units is not has not been finalized yet. But that will be discussed with staff on how many units we can get with the available water credits. So that will, depending on what the project looks like, it may or may not come before the ARC. They might use a streamlining review that was adopted by the state, which wouldn't require architectural review. So it just depends on if they qualify for that streamlined review or not. But I can bring another update to you once I find out more.
All right, thank you, Fernanda. Any questions for Fernanda on?
I just want to understand more of what's happening with water. I know that we just approved this project for Garden Road, but it was my understanding that the Water Resources Control Board had not approved a change in intensification for the water on Garden Road. So I'm just trying to understand, are these buildings going to be built? Are they shovel ready? Are we waiting for the water usage change? And same with the properties on city owned. What's happening?
So they do need to apply for a water permit to change the use from commercial to residential. So that's still something that we're hoping that will go smoothly. But it will require, like I said, a water permit application through the Water Management District. And for the site right behind City Hall, that's city owned, and the city can move water credits between city properties. So we do not foresee any impediment on that front.
Thank you.
Any other reports or comments?
We are tentatively scheduling the ARC submittal checklist to the next ARC meeting. So that would be on October 19th. But it's tentative right now, and we're hoping that all ARC members can attend that meeting so that we can have a good discussion.
All right. I'll chat with you afterwards for about that. Okay, if no other comments or questions for Fernanda at 60 or 4:47, go ahead and adjourn the meeting of the ARC.